Hey, you guys, we have a very special edition of Real Life Talk here, and we're in a situation where there's a lineup of speakers. We're just delivering one message after another, and Seth Gruber, who's with us today, is a pro-life advocate, which, if you know me, my heart is knit to his heart on the fight and on the defense of the unborn child. And so I'm not going to get into anything else other than, in the short time we have, letting Seth talk and instruct and teach us. So listen, Seth Gruber, pro-life advocate and a man who has my heart. So Seth, God bless you. Welcome to this podcast.
Thank you, Jack.
Because we have a short time, go for it. What's happening?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for your voice for life. This is a propitious moment in our country.
Yeah.
And you know more than probably any other pastor, because of your personal experience and your courage on this issue, how important life is. Yeah. Right? If our country is going to deny the natural right to life to an entire class of human beings, we cannot trust that government to protect any other rights that flow from that first and most important of all rights. And so if we can't get life right, we won't get any of the other ones right. Yes. So are we surprised that certain politicians, through their draconian policies, are ignoring the natural rights to liberty and property? No, of course not, because they're pro-abortion. They ignore the natural right to life. So of course they're going to ignore every other right that flows from that. So Christians have to care about this issue, firstly, because we're called to. These are little babies created in the image of God. Secondly, if we don't get the right to life right, we will be surrendering every other one of our rights that flow from that first and most important of all rights. So I'm the West Coast director for Life Training Institute. We were actually started by Scott Klusendorf, a far better pro-life speaker than me, and he actually was at Stand to Reason with Greg Kokel and Alan Schleman and all those guys.
I love those
in
guys.
The early years.
Yeah.
He was there in like 2000.
I think Alan was here in this table a year ago.
Alan's a good friend.
Great guy.
He helped train me for my first abortion debate years ago. So Scott Klusendorf, who's one of the most sought after pro-life speakers in the country, left Stand to Reason in the early 2000s to start Life Training Institute. So what we do is we equip and train Christian leaders, lay people, and young people to be a persuasive, gracious voice for the unborn, and to encourage our pro-choice Americans and brothers and sisters, unfortunately, to change their mind by examining evidence they haven't seen or heard before. Right. And so we seek to bring moral, political, and spiritual clarity to an issue that we're told, well, Jack, don't you know, it's a deeply complex personal issue, so just let women make their own decisions. So that's what we do.
There was a change on the bench at the Supreme Court.
That's right.
Let's be honest, it wasn't a surprise. It wasn't if, it was when this was going to happen.
Yes, so Ruth Bader Ginsberg, a Supreme Court justice, passed away from cancer. A lot of people have been saying, you know, this is so tragic, and some of the people who even share our own beliefs. The only thing that's tragic, Jack, and you'll agree, is that I don't think she repented before she met the creator of the universe. This woman was the greatest legal enemy to our unborn brothers and sisters of any Supreme Court justice, maybe since Blackmun, who authored the Roe versus Wade decision. This woman, several years ago, as you know, voted against upholding the partial birth abortion ban. What does that mean? It means she wanted to re-legalize a procedure where you deliver a second or third trimester infant up to their shoulders, and while their legs are flailing around outside of their mother's birth canal, you stick scissors into the back of their neck, and you suck their brains out. This is the closest thing to a French guillotine for unborn children. So the only tragedy is that I don't think she repented before she met Jesus. But this is going to create a political firestorm.
Your comment is almost exactly the moment I heard of her passing. I think it was like 15 minutes into the news. I had made mention, post on Facebook, I said, the activist abortionist dies at 87.
That's right.
My only comfort comes from the fact that perhaps she responded to the message that Antonia Scalia of the gospel, you know, he gave her the gospel over and over again for years.
That's right.
And that's the only hope. But people right now, even some of the conservative commentators and news agencies are just swooning over her great achievements. Let me say, her great achievements regarding her intellect, regarding her tenacity to fight through cancer, her husband's cancer, the fact that she was only 9 out of 500 students graduating law degrees from Harvard. I get all that. Trailblazer, yes. But let's be honest. Everyone will agree on either side that she was the single most prominent activist judge in American history.
That's right.
Activist judge. Listen, Republicans and Democrats, progressives and conservatives have all said last night on the news analysis that, in fact, Jay Sekulow said, She had her mind made up before any case ever started, and she would receive your argument
That's right.
with intellect and with debate. However, there was no changing her mind.
That's right. She weaponized the highest court in the land on a routine basis in order to further enshrine abortion rights.
I could be given death threats over this next statement. A judge on any bench should never have a preloaded decision based upon their own preference.
That's right.
They're supposed to be a judge.
That's
and
right.
so, quickly, I know that you've got to get out there and speak real quick. Unload on this. If a plane was going down and you had to give somebody the argument as to why this vote matters in November from the pro-life view, go.
That's right. You know, Pastor Jack, my heart really breaks when I look at so many of our brothers and sisters who say they love Jesus. You know, and it's not for me to necessarily determine that unless I see truly, truly rotten fruit, right? Because you know a tree bears fruit. But so many of the Christians I know were tweeting out and sharing these just glowing, honorific posts about Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And sometimes they say something like, "We didn't agree on everything, but she did a lot of good work." No, her attacking of unborn image bearers pretty much overshadows anything else that she could have done.
Absolutely.
She has more unborn blood on her hand than
right.
any Supreme Court justice who's ever sat on the court.
That's right.
And so it is time for Christians to, as one of our speakers will say, get off the bench.
Right.
Christians cannot surrender anymore. We're watching so many pastors and Christian leaders lay down their arms in their spiritual duties
Right.
of the Great Commission
Right.
in order to receive political accolades, so that, well, look, I Romans 13, I abide by the governing authorities, and meanwhile, people are hurting, people are depressed, people are killing themselves,
That's
and
right.
more babies
Epidemic.
are dying, and the abortion industry, Pastor Jack, is using these shutdowns to sue the FDA to be able to lift their safety regulations on the sale of the abortion pill so they can ship them
Wow.
with telemedicine straight to women's houses. So you don't have to show up and get the abortion pill, you just ship it to them. This is the new horizon. This is what they're pushing for. And if we don't act politically to protect our preborn neighbors, this could all be over. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have told us in no uncertain terms that they will overturn the Hyde Amendment, which keeps federal dollars from funding abortion through Medicaid reimbursements and has saved over 2 million babies. That they will add 4 more Supreme Court justices, which we all know will have the jurisprudence of a Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Absolutely.
They want to make D.C. a state.
That's right.
Kamala Harris says she wants to institute pre-clearance guidelines for pro-life states who want to pass pro-life laws, destroying federalism and the democratic will of the people.
Absolutely.
And they will further add millions to Planned Parenthood. Yeah. This is what they're doing. They're telling us in no uncertain terms.
That's right.
It's time for Christians to abandon our fear of partisan labels,
right.
to engage in the political work necessary to protect unborn image bearers.
Exactly right. Our politics as a Christian from a biblical worldview should be driven by the policies. Which of these policies most represent a biblical worldview?
That's right.
Listen, you guys, we're going to have to go. Seth's got to go speak at a conference here that we're hosting. Come back, California. But Seth, will you promise me something, brother? Will we come back together and do at least an hour, maybe 2?
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah, we easily
really
could.
need to unpack these things.
And for all of these ideas and more, I do host a weekly podcast called Unaborted with Seth Gruber, because as Reagan once said, I've noticed everyone who's for abortion has already been born.
Has already been born. Say it one more time so everybody's got that.
Unaborted with Seth Gruber. You can watch it on YouTube or find it wherever you listen to podcasts.
Awesome. God bless you.
Thank
God
you.
bless you guys. We'll connect soon.